Hey, this is Marty from Kicking with Computer Science. Today we're going to talk about Java input and output. And we're going to use the REPL.it programming environment to write a program that converts from Celsius to Fahrenheit, just to give you an example of how input and output works. A typical scenario is where the program is receiving input. There's two primary sources. One would be from the keyboard and another might be from a text file. You can also imagine lots of other sources of input, maybe from a database, um, maybe from an email. There's lots of sources of input. But the screen or keyboard is a good starting location. Um, Once a program reads input, it's typically going to do some type of calculation and then print out output. Output could be again to the screen. That's the most common location, but it also could be to a file, a database, or a variety of other places. So let's take a look at this program. Currently, the program is set up to convert from centimeters to inches. So kind of using this layout, I thought we would kind of just go through and modify things to see if we could get it to work for Celsius to Fahrenheit. Let's try running it first and see what happens. So right now the Java C program is running and it's compiling. And here's an example of how the program is getting input. So it's asking exactly how many centimeters. And you can see in the program, the system out print line exactly how many centimeters. That's the line of code we're seeing in the right in the console. And CM, which is a variable that's defined here, it's a double. It's taking the result of the input that we type in. So let's just try typing in 3 centimeters. And you can see 3 centimeters is equal to 1 inch. I don't really know if that's right, but that's an example of Java outputting to the screen based on the transformation. Um, Okay, so without further ado, let's look up the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion formula. And I Googled it a second ago, and you can see it's equal to uh, Celsius times 9/5 plus 32 to get Fahrenheit. So what we want to do is take this formula and plug it into our program. So let me just copy this, go back here, and we'll just stick it right here for now. And we're gonna we're gonna name a variable Celsius. And actually, let's just make it easier. Call it C. So Fahrenheit equals Celsius times, and that's not the Java symbol for times. So C times 9/5 plus 32, and we'll put a parens here. And every Java line needs a semicolon, so we'll put a semicolon at the end here. Um, let's go ahead and run this just to see what happens. I'm guessing it's not going to work. Okay, and you can see Java's complaining because we haven't defined F and we haven't defined C. So Fahrenheit, um, let's go ahead and define it inline. So we'll declare an int F, and that's equal to C times 9/5 plus 32. But we don't have C defined either. So where we previously had centimeters, let's change this double to C and change this to C. So now the variable C will get the value of the double or the number, the decimal number that the user enters. But we don't want it to say exactly how many centimeters. We want to say what what temp. How about this? Enter Celcius temp. All right, so let's run it and see what happens. Hit run. It's compiling, and Java compiler is not happy. You can see, looks like it's complaining about incompatible types, lossy conversion from double to int. Ignoring that for a second, it can't find the CM variable, and that's because we just removed it. But we don't need this inches to centimeters part here anymore. But one thing I do notice is we have this conversion, explicit conversion of the result of our transformation or formula. Uh, uh, the result is being converted into a primitive int. So we probably do need that. So let's put this right there. And then this code we no longer need. We'll just kind of get rid of that and get rid of this line for a second just to see what happens. So now we're running it again. And oh, enter Celsius temp. So we'll enter 30 as our Celsius, and it does nothing. Well, of course it does nothing because we commented out this system out print align. So if we want to print out the value in Fahrenheit, just grab Fahrenheit since I don't know how to spell it, and we can pop that here and say Fahrenheit temp. So these are all replacement tokens we've talked about in a previous lesson. So let's get rid of some of this stuff and just go with this %d. So %d is a good replacement token to print out the value of an int. And we'll put a F here. We don't need that. Let's just get rid of the rest of this. And so what we want to do is replace the %d with the value of the variable f that I've defined. So hopefully if we run it again, we'll see that f is going to be equal to Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. All right, so we'll put in Celsius temp of 30 and Fahrenheit temp equals 86. Well, that sounds about right, but let's just try popping it in here. If we do 30, 86, bing, bang, boom. Hope you enjoyed this lesson on input and output in Java and converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Thanks. See you next time.